My name's Bob Johnston. I'm the director of the Drug and Alcohol Treatment Program at the Wichita Falls Faith Mission. Been down there for about 7 years. Today, I'm interviewing a guy named Tony. He's been in the program for close to a year now, and we're going to have a little discussion about some things that have gone on in his life. Thought some stuff that you might be interested in. So Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir.
Fantastic. Let me ask you first off, why are you here? How
Wow.
did you end up at Faith Mission? How did you end up in a drug and alcohol rehab in the first place?
Well, I was over at my girlfriend's house, and my parole officer called me on the phone, and he told me that I need to come into the office. I I told him, I said, it's not my day to report. He said, well, I need you down here within 30 minutes. So I went home, got ready to go down to report. I went to my parole officer, and I walked in his office, and he told me, he said, Tony, you're going to prison. I said, what do you mean I'm going to prison? He said, you're fixing to go to prison. So, that shocked me because I wasn't expecting for him to tell me
So
that.
why did he tell you that? What had you done that he decided, okay, now parole is over, your options have run out, and I'm about to put you in prison?
He knew I was doing drugs,
Okay.
uh, and he told me, or we was sitting in his office, and he was sitting there messing with his computer. And I told him, I said, I need some help. So he kept on doing his work on his computer, and he just sat there for a minute. He said, what'd you ask me? I said, I'm asking you for help. He said, what do you mean help? I said, I need help getting off these drugs I'm on because it's ruining my life. He said, I give you two options. He said, either you're going to prison or I got this place that I can send you that will help you as long as you're all the way in it. He said, you can't go down there and halfway do it. He said, you got to finish this 13-month program.
So he let you know this was going to be 100% commitment, that either A, you're going to prison, or B, you're going to go into a drug and alcohol rehab that demands 100% commitment from you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And he made it clear to me that I couldn't come down here and do like 4 or 5 months and then leave
Hmm.
and not go straight to prison. So he asked me, he said, well, which one you want to do? I said, well, I don't want to go to prison. I said, I'll go to this program you got. He said, I'm going to give you a number and I'm going to let you leave. I said, you're going to let me walk out of here? He said, yes. He said, I'm going to give you this phone number and I want you to go home and call it. I said, yes, sir, I will. So I left the office, went home and called that number. I didn't have any idea who it was or what it was going to be. And I called that number and I couldn't get nobody to answer the first time. And I called it back about 30 minutes later, and I guess David answered the phone.
Hmm.
And I asked for Bob. I said, is Bob there? He said, well, he's not available right now. He said, can I take a message? I said, well, I went and reported to my parole officer, and this is the number they gave me to call and told me I need to talk to Bob Johnson. He said, okay. He said, I'll give him this message and he'll get back to you. All right. That day went on by. I didn't hear nothing. So the next day, you called me back, and we had a conversation of, you know, the first thing you asked me, you said, do I love Jesus? I mean, I said, yeah, I love Jesus. I love God. And then you told me you're going to have to do some checking on me. You're going to have to do some research on my
Hmm.
charges and stuff. And so I waited a couple days. You called me back in a couple days later. And I got on the phone, you got on the phone, and you started asking me all kinds of questions about, my charges. Like I had aggravated assault on a police officer and stuff like that. And I said, wait a minute, Bob. I said, you're not reading me my rap sheet. I said, because I ain't never had an aggravated charge or nothing. You said, oh, maybe I got the wrong file or something. You just told me to hold on, you're just going to check. So I waited there a few seconds and you got back on the phone. You said, yeah, I did have the wrong file. He said, Mr. Fretwell, he said, I think you're going to be okay down here. So I asked you, I said, well, when do you want me to show up? He said, today. I said, well, I can't show up today. I said, my mom's, she's an elderly woman. I need to get it set up for her. So you give me 3 days to get ready to show up down there. So I had to show up on Saturday
Hmm.
at 2 o'clock, or you're going to give my bed to somebody else. I said, I'll be there, sir. And I was there.
Okay, two things. Number one, why do you think I asked you, do you like Jesus?
It's a faith.
After having been here for a while.
After
After having been in the program for a while, why do you think I asked you if you like Jesus?
because you're a Christian man. I mean,
Because the
because
program,
it's a faith.
Jesus is pretty much central to the program.
It is. It's a lot about Jesus. I mean, I told you when I first got there that I couldn't read and write that good,
Mm.
and you told me that I didn't have to know how to read or write that good because as much Jesus as you teach us, I could almost learn the whole Bible just listening to you.
And you're getting close. So let me ask you this question. Okay, so you've been in the program now how long?
Going on 8 months.
Okay, so you've been in the program 8 months. I think it was last month. You went down to Denton and talk to your lawyer.
Grayson
And
County.
for your first, they have a first offering.
Right.
They say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're willing to offer. And you felt like when you came into the program that that your probation officer had told you, parole officer that told you that if you came in the program, you would be free and clear on the other side and you would not go to prison.
That's the way I
Yeah,
understood it.
the way you understood it, maybe misunderstood it, but that's the way you understood it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so take me to that. You went to see your lawyer. You went to court for the first time. Typically, I go with people that go for the first time, but I was actually having a medical procedure that day, so I couldn't go. So you went with our night guy, who doesn't perhaps know the ins and outs of the court system like I do. So tell me what happened that day.
Well, we went to court, and really it was supposed to be just an arraignment that we was going to. So that's really one of the reasons I was kind of nervous because you wasn't going.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all told me that you're just going for arraignment. You're just going to meet your lawyer to find out who your lawyer is and get a court date. So that's what we went down there. That's what I was thinking. By the time it was over with, we come out of the courtroom, and my lawyer come out there and she told me, she said, the DA approached me and they said they already got a deal on the table for you. It's a 25-year offer, and they're not coming off 25 years.
So 25 years. That's
25
what
years
that was their offer to you was
in,
25 years
in prison.
for the crime that you'd committed while you were on parole, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And there's nothing else I could have said to her, so we just left. I said, okay, I'll see you on the next court date. And we left, and we got downstairs. There was two guys that brought me down here. And I asked them, I said, well, which one of y'all is going to put me back in that car? Because I'm not going back.
Why not? Why didn't you want to go back?
Because I know this DA, and I know when he told me that he's not coming off that 25, he's not coming off that
So
25.
you and this DA have a lot of history.
A lot of
You've been in and out of the court systems quite
25 years.
extensively. And the DA down in Denton's been the DA for almost 40 years. So he knows you well.
Yes, sir.
And you normally react a different way than you had been reacting this time.
Oh, yes, sir, I did. I mean, I went down there, I prayed for this, and, I asked God to go in there and talk for me because I usually don't talk to the DA and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know there's a God. I know there is.
Amen. So you walked out that day, and you were determined you weren't coming back to
Right,
the program.
I was going home. I was going to leave right there and go home.
Because you said you'd had all the prison you wanted.
Yep. And Tommy and them talked me into getting back in the car and coming back down here and talking to you.
Okay.
He said, you need to go talk to Bob, and after you talk to Bob, you can do what you want to. But at least go back down there, Tony, and talk
Give it
to
a
Bob.
chance.
So that's what I did. I got in the car and we went back down here.
Okay, so we had a conversation when you get back. What happened?
Well, I approached you and you come up to me and you told me that when they come at that 25 with you, that was the most amount they could give you.
Mm-hmm.
That's as high as they were going to go. He said, you just stay here and you just keep listening to God, and they'll come off that 25. And I had tears in my eyes and stuff because I was mad. I was upset because I've been to prison already 5 times, and I just don't got another sentence left.
So you'd been to prison 5 times, and you said, I'm not going back to prison.
That's what I kept telling myself.
At this point, you had to trust God.
I had to get it all.
You weren't going back to prison because your heart, in your heart, you really wanted to run.
Right, I did.
So, okay, I'm going back to prison, so I might as well do what I can do until I go back.
Yes, sir.
But when we had that conversation, I convinced you to stick it out and to trust God, right?
And that's what I did. I left it all in God's hands, and then we went to court again.
Okay, so we go back to court again. How long after that did we go back to court? It was a month later, right?
A month later.
All right, so a month later, now I go up to court with you. Tell us what happened.
Me and you standing out there, we're waiting for my lawyer to come up to me. And she come up to me, she approached me and told me that we need to go talk. And then I asked you to go in there with me.
Mhm.
So us three went in the court or the conference room and we sat down, started talking. She started reading me my charges and stuff.
So she showed you discovery,
Yeah,
and discovery is what you were being charged with, the crime you'd committed while you were on parole, and she was rolling that out and saying, "This is what you did. This is what they caught you doing. Basically, this is the case they have against you."
right.
Okay.
And she still wasn't, it was nowhere in her mind that they was coming off at 25. So then when us three was in that
Because she
room
knows
there,
the DA too.
yes, I asked her if she would let me talk to the DA. And then she looked at me and she said, Tony, the DA's not going to come in here and talk to you. So I asked her, I said, well, I want to have a meeting with the
Well,
DA.
let's back up on that a minute. You said that you had, in previous conversations with the DA, lost your temper and yelled at him.
Oh yeah, me and him hollered at each other in them conference rooms. I mean,
So it kind of surprised you that he was willing to come talk to you.
it did surprise me
Okay.
that he come talk to me. It even surprised my lawyer, which she told us that later on. She said, Tony, I can't believe he even come in here and talk to you.
Hmm.
But when he did come, or when she went out there to ask him, he come back in there with her, and he
What was the first thing he said when he walked in the room?
he looked at me and he said, Tony, I'm not giving you probation. He says, "That is out of the question." He said, "Don't even," and, I didn't even ask him for it. I wasn't gonna ask him for probation,
Yeah.
but he told me, he said, "Don't even ask me for probation." He says, "I'm not," he says, "I'm a true believer. I'm against these programs and stuff
Hmm.
because I know they don't work."
So he was convinced after 40 years of being a DA that programs like this don't work
Do
because
not
he'd
work.
seen a lot of programs not like this
Right.
work.
He's never seen a program like
He's never
this.
seen a program like this one, though.
So after he started asking you questions about the program, "Well, what does Tony do in this program?" And you told him we take classes and stuff. We got a budget class, we got a CR class, we got all kinds of classes in here that is, but most of what this program is about is Jesus.
Mhm.
I mean, you're going to hear so much about Jesus in this program, and it's changed my life.
And
Just
coming through the program, you're going to get, when you leave the program, you'll have a house,
oh yeah,
you'll have a
Bob. I
job,
mean,
you'll have a car. All your wants, warrants, and tickets have disappeared. Every problem you have with the law is typically gone. You've been restored to your wife and your kids, your family. Everything's been taken care of. So the courts look at that and say, this guy really doesn't want to go back to prison, and we really don't need to send him back to prison. So that's a conversation he and I had after he told you, there's no way you're getting probation. Then when we finished that conversation, he asked me a question about parole. What was that?
he asked you if you had anybody in the program now that was on probation,
Hmm.
and you told him yes, there's two people in probation right now from here. He
So
said,
what did you
really?
do with that?
It kind of shocked him there at first. He
Hmm.
said, really? He said, well, I need to go make a couple phone calls. He said, let me go check on this and I'll be right back with y'all. So apparently he went and made some phone calls and talked to the people that was on probation and stuff, found out that you do have two people on probation and
Hmm.
they're doing real good and stuff. So, I mean, me and him by that time, we'd have been going at it
Hmm.
because, that's 25 years of my life that I don't got to go down there and do in prison again.
Right.
I ain't got it in me.
So after his and mine conversation, after in the beginning he said, no probation, probation's off the table, you're not going to get probation.
Right.
And by the time he found out what kind of program we actually had, and then he talked to parole and said, hey man, this is a very successful program. What was his response when he came back in the office?
He really gave me a choice, an opportunity. I mean, he made it a hard one, but
So he gave you two options.
he gave me two options. He said, I can do this 25, go down and do 4 or 5 years of it.
So he gave you 25 years with the hope that you would only have to do 4 years of that eventually.
Right.
What was the other option?
Probation.
He offered you
He
probation.
did. And I seen God move right there. I mean, I did. I seen that man's change because I know how he is. I
Hmm.
know how he acts and stuff. And he was a totally different man in there at the end of our little hearing there, Dale. And he did say probation, but he's leaving it up to me
It's your
But
choice.
it's
Because if you go on probation for this, he's letting you know if you get caught doing anything else again,
anything.
it's all over for you.
He
It's
said, "I
all
won't get
over.
back out of prison."
So what's your confidence level right now? What do you, because I know he asked me. He asked me, he said, "Do you think Tony's going to make it? Do you think he can do this?" And I said, "I truly believe he can, but it is up to you. It's your choice. It's what you do after you leave the program." So let me ask you, how do you feel about your chances of staying out of prison for the rest of your life?
Really, I feel 100%. I mean, it's not because I'm doing this to get out of this 25 years. I can
Mhm.
go do this 25 years,
Uh-huh.
but I'll be an old man when I get through with it. I'm ready to change my life. You've already changed my life, so I want to stay on the path I'm on. And I really think I can do it. I'm not even worried about the number of probation he gives me. You know, he never offered me a number.
Right.
So he could give me 10, 15 years probation, but I'm not worried about it.
It doesn't
As
matter.
long as I stay around Christian people
Mhm.
and keep doing what I'm doing now, I think I can do whatever he gives me
So
and be a free man.
probation and parole, distinctly secular organizations, not Christian at all. What they say is that in order for you to stay out of prison, after having been in there before, in order for you to stay out of prison, you have to change your people, places, and things. How does this program help you to change your people, places, and things?
It just does. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to go out and meet other people. I mean, Christian people. I mean,
Hmm.
that's who we work around. You know, that's all I've seen down here is Christian people, and everybody's so nice. I mean, I've never been around people like this because you know I really didn't live this life. I never had the opportunity to go to a program like this. So I've already changed my places. I'm gonna move to Wichita Falls. I'm
Hmm.
changing that. And the people, they don't even come around me no more. Like we go home once a month on a pass.
Hmm.
And when I go to my mom's, there's nobody comes around messes with me because they done seen I've changed. And what really makes me know that I've changed is my mom tells me. She said, "Tony, you've changed your life."
So she recognizes it.
She recognized it when the first pass I went on.
And how
And
often did you go to church before you came to this program?
I didn't.
Not at all.
Not at all.
But now you attend church every week.
Every week,
And you've
twice a week.
developed a new group of friends at church, haven't you?
And I love them. I love them all. And I love the programmers. You know, we're all good. I mean, we all get along and everybody tries to pull you up, especially you.
So
I
your
mean,
faith is that you can make it now.
I can make it. It's not that I think I can make it. I know I'm going to make it.
Amen. So is there anything else you want to add?
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm just glad to meet you. I mean, because you're a wonderful man. You really are. And you love us all. I know that in my heart that you really do care about us. It's not just something you're trying to play off or nothing, because we see it every day.
Amen. And thank you for that. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate your candor there.
All right, Bob.
Okay. Thank you.